Okay, hello, welcome back to The Weird Sisters. I am Sophia, the host, and my guests today on the podcast are Sierra.
Hello.
And Tegan.
Hi.
And today we are going to talk about Macbeth. And I have two topics for you guys today. And the first one is, does Macbeth deserve sympathy for his murderous deeds?
No.
No?
No.
We think no. And I think it's really interesting because, like, Macbeth at the beginning has more of a moral standard. Like, he's like, oh, murder's bad.
Yeah.
But then as it gets to the end, he just, like, is killing everyone,
Yeah.
which is really not good morally. Hot take. But, you know, when we talk about, like, death, like, ever being deserved, like, killing people, I think it's a really interesting conversation because lots of people have different opinions. And I think, you know, lots of people believe, like, oh, if someone does something bad to me, it's in my fair right to do something bad to them.
Yeah.
But
I think that's kind of selfish.
I think it is kind of selfish. And I think it's not, like, I don't know if I believe in karma, but it's not a good attitude to have. Like, if someone bullies me, I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna bully them back.
Yeah. It's like, if a child hits you, you're not gonna hit a child back.
Yeah.
Like...
You know, like, that's so bad. And so, but, like, I feel like there's something to be said, not murderous deeds. I think especially with Macbeth, like, the first person he kills is obviously King Duncan. And, like, King Duncan, like, literally did nothing to him. Like, he was just chilling, he was a king.
And he was promised to be king.
Yeah.
So there was no point in, like, trying to get it faster.
Yeah, and I don't know, and even Macbeth talks about, like, King Duncan is so nice, like, I don't know why I'm doing this, like, he's so nice, and then just goes and murders him.
Yeah.
And so I think that's never justifiable. Like, it'd just be like if me murdering Tian, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's a bad example, but do you know what I mean? Like, why are you murdering your random friend? Like,
yeah, it's not like they've done anything wrong to deserve to die either.
yeah, like, he literally is like, he's so nice, like, I don't know why I'm doing this.
Spirit leader, I want to
Yeah.
be loyal to him. It's like,
And then the next person he kills, isn't it, like, the guards? He kills the guards. And, like, again, wasn't justified. The guards are just doing their job. And he's like, but I think it also talks a lot about, I feel like Macbeth has this, like, righteousness that he deserves the throne because of this prophecy. And I feel like that's really odd behavior. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I deserve it.
if you're promised something, you don't need to, like, go farther
Well,
by killing people.
yeah, it kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of, you know, when, like, parents die and, like, the children all go after the inheritance because they feel righteous towards it.
Yeah.
Like,
Really.
you don't know for sure that you deserve that. Like, who says? Like, these weird ladies, like,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean
If
anything.
your parents promise you, like, a TV, you're not gonna go and steal a TV.
Yeah. Like, and
you don't
Macbeth,
need it.
especially Lady Macbeth, who's just so hungry for power in the
she's,
same
like,
way.
so manipulative, and she's like, I hate myself because I'm a woman, so, like, I'm gonna need to do it through my husband. It's like,
It is kind of interesting, because I wonder if that was a commentary or it was just Shakespeare just, like, being like, women hate themselves because they can't have power.
women are horrible, and they think that too.
And they want to murder every man.
Yeah.
Because I think it would be really interesting if instead the story is about Lady Macbeth getting power and wanting to become queen, but it's about, like, Macbeth being, like, wimpy and not being able to kill anyone.
Yeah. And, like, she's strong.
She's definitely a
also
strong woman, which is really interesting.
manipulative. She's like, well, my heart's, like, pure, but my hands are covered in blood. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I
It's,
know.
like, a little funky.
I don't know also what that's supposed to mean about her husband. Like, her husband's heart is not pure, but his hands are covered in blood. Like, I don't know. Well, and then I think he also kills lots of people, and then he kills that whole family.
It's kind of like how some people will try to excuse, like, school shooters because, like, well, they're probably mentally ill and stuff like that, when really they got broken up with and they're mad and they hate that, like, hate the school or whatever. But it's just like, there's no reason they did that. They're not psychologically impaired.
They're not stable.
Yeah, it's like 1 out of 100 shooters would be.
Well,
technically, like,
do you think
psychologically
Macbeth would
impaired,
have
but-
done that if he hadn't been promised, like, the throne by the Weird Sisters? Do you think
I
he
don't
would have
think
done?
He would have thought about it that
You-
much.
Well,
Or,
yeah.
like, unless somebody else would say, like, oh, you'll never be king, and then he'll start thinking about it, then he'll start killing people to be king, but, like...
Well, he was already hesitant about it, and so without the prophecy, I don't know if he would have been able to go through with it.
Well, and when I guess when we talk about school shooters, I think a lot about, like, you know, they wouldn't be able to do it without guns. Like,
Yeah.
and I think of kind of, like, the prophecy and Lady Macbeth in some way as the gun. Because, like, without it, he wouldn't have been motivated to do it. He would have just lived his life and
Like,
not thought about it in the same way.
Someone would have had to put it in his head for him to think about it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have just been loyal to the king.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, and I think, so we definitely agree that it's just not justifiable.
Yeah.
Well, maybe he was a little mentally ill. It's like, okay.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, just Macbeth as a whole is kind of a weird character because he's kind of, like, not very confident.
He's like goofy.
He is goofy and he doesn't do a lot, but then he murders all of these people.
Like, all he did was kill people in battle, and he's like, oh my gosh, you're so great for killing people. Like, oh my gosh. But then he gets back and he's like, well, I guess I deserve to be king. It's just like, do you...
Yeah, and also where did all of this, like, charismatic killing go? Like, after he got back? Like, after...
How are you gonna get away with this?
Yeah. And then, okay, so moving on from that topic, our next topic is if we ever think murder is justifiable, which is a very heavy topic to be talking about.
There's like, I don't know, there's no exact line.
I feel like it's very complex, too. Because when I think of is murder ever justifiable, I think a lot about the death penalty. And I don't believe in the death penalty. And I think it for two reasons. I, like, don't think you should kill people because they kill people or harm people.
Yeah.
Like, and I also think I just is really odd.
Yeah.
It's
so
very
weird that
strange.
the government can decide when someone
Yeah.
dies, but then other people can't.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying anybody should be able to decide when someone dies, but it's just like, only me as a person can decide when I die,
Yeah.
unless it's like natural causes. But I don't think the government should just be like, well, they deserve it because they killed a person.
Well, yeah, and so when we talk about the end of the play and Macbeth gets killed, and then the son of Duncan becomes king, and he's like, woo, yay, this is what you deserve for murdering my dad. Like, people can be really awful, terrible people, and I still don't think they deserve to die. Because when you talk about, like, how I view it is, it's like doing a bad deed, and then to get back about someone's bad deed, you do something bad back to them.
Yeah.
Like, it's not... It doesn't solve it. It just creates more hate and more anger and more dislike. Like, I think about recently I got in a fight with someone and they, like, said something mean to me and I said it back to them. Like, they called...
It's not gonna make it positive.
Like, it's not
a math
it's not gonna fix it. Like,
yeah.
You need to, I feel like, and then again, this is a weird thing to talk about, like, in Shakespeare, be the bigger person.
Yeah.
But, like, Macbeth shouldn't have been murdered because I don't think anyone should ever be murdered. Like, I think choosing to murder someone is actively a bad choice.
Yeah. In any instance, it's just a little icky. Like, obviously you cannot blame them being a murderer on them having, like, a mental illness or something like that. But obviously they are, like, in some form.
Macbeth is not stable.
Like, they're not stable.
Macbeth
so it's
needs
just,
to
like,
go to counseling.
Yeah, like, in some form they need to be rehabilitated, even if that's not being able to be in society ever again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, maybe we should fix people instead of just killing people.
Yeah, and I think, well, like, when people talk a lot, like, about Macbeth, and it's like, oh, well, he was gonna kill more people. Well, yeah, but, I mean, yeah, like...
Of course.
But, or you could have imprisoned him. Like, I know this was medieval, but, like, if we're talking about death, like... I don't think anyone ever deserves to be murdered. Like,
Yeah.
hot take. Like, it just...
There's, like, people like Jeffrey Dahmer and stuff like that. It's just like, oh, yeah, he was really icky, but there's obviously something wrong with him. Like, you can't... It's just...
I don't know.
That's
And
weird.
I think also just, like, it's a really hateful thing to do. And I think when we talk about, like, victims of stuff like that, like, why would you want that to be on your conscience, too? Even if the
Yeah.
person's awful, like, why would you want that to be on your soul or something?
Like, I feel like being in the position of, like, somebody that you knew really well, like a family member or whatever, dying, you would want them to die, because it's just, like, that's human hatred.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's right for the government or you or anybody else to decide when they die or when you die.
Yeah.
It's just really odd.
I think anyone who wants to, like,
If you want to kill somebody, it's just a little...
play God in that
Yeah.
sense of being like, oh, I get to control who lives or dies is really uncomfortable to me and a really sort of entitlement to life that I find to be really odd. I don't know. Sierra, do you have any other thoughts about it or no? Do you agree with us? Or do you
Yes,
Oh, sorry.
yes, I agree with you guys. and this is something, it's like on the topic but a little different, is just like a lot of people have died due to the death penalty that were innocent, and that's just totally unfair. Like, if you just never just like killed people because you can, then that wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
No, and I think there should be other ways of looking at life besides like, oh, I'm gonna kill someone.
Yeah.
I want my boss dead.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
And I think Macbeth is really interesting because, you know, like, he dies at the end, which you don't see a lot for, like, main character.
Yeah.
And
But he was kind of like an antagonist. in
yeah,
a
he
way.
was.
And I don't think, like,
Anti-hero.
yeah, I don't think all, like, bad people should just die. But it's just, like...
I wonder
it's
what
like-
Shakespeare was thinking when he wrote it, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, the idea of it.
Probably, like, a cultural thing, too. It's just, like...
Yeah, probably cultural stuff we don't
Behead them.
understand.
Yeah.
Well,
Also, there's, like, defending yourself. Like, if you're in a situation where you're going to die, should you kill the person who's going to kill you?
I think it's really a gray area. Like, I don't know, you can say murder is bad, but, like,
And
then
like-
people murder people, or, like, you know?
Because, like, I feel like if someone was coming at me with a gun, and I also had a gun, and they were about to shoot me, I would try to shoot them first.
Yeah.
But that's just me being, like, selfish. Like, I want to live more than...
But
I
but
was
if
It's
you...
also just instinct too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Fight or flight or freeze.
Or, you know, when people talk about how they murder, like, their abusers or stuff. And
It's
but
just, like, it's empowering, but it's also just, like, damn, that's, like, a whole human life.
yeah, and I don't know if that's ever justified, but I think also to be put in that position is never justified, you know? Put in that position of life or death, especially, is so confusing.
And it's, like, if it's, like, a parent, it's, like, generational trauma. Like, you're probably, if you had kids, too, you would
Yeah.
end up being an abuser. It's just, like, that's sucky.
Well, that was kind of a heavy way to end the podcast, but that's going to be all for us. We want to say thank you and hope everyone has a good day. Okay, bye-bye!